Welcome back to Greg Plays Games. If this is your first time here, welcome. Please subscribe. I am making video game content every month, trying to do it weekly, but sometimes life happens or there's just not much to talk about. Not really so much nowadays. There's a ton of happening in the video game world. But today I'm going to be comparing the Analogue Pocket to the Nintendo 3DS and giving my recommendation for which of these consoles is worth the price tag. And they're both going to run you about $200 to $250. You're limited to eBay and third-party sellers for the Nintendo 3DS since this is no longer in the running. I have the new Nintendo 3DS, not the XL version. I really like the size and the form factor. It's about the size of a kind of modern iPhone, but a little bit thinner, I would say. Very pocketable. And then comparing that to the Analogue Pocket, I have this in the Pocket hard case. Let me take that out for you guys. So the Analogue Pocket, you can get this directly from Analogue. That's where I would recommend you going to get it. Avoid eBay. You're going to get price gouged probably significantly. I have the standard black color. There's a ton of limited edition colors. I really wanted a limited edition of color, but the kind of standard black has really grown on me, and I really do love this colorway. I'm going to start with the Analogue Pocket and discuss the main benefits of this console. So number one is going to be a really high quality screen. Insert some gameplay footage here, please, future Greg. And the fact that you can play physical cartridges. The only other place you'll be able to play your physical cartridges is on original hardware. There are a ton of options for modding those to modernize them, but nothing is going to really come close to that Analogue Pocket screen. It is really beautiful. It is definitely my favorite way that I've played, pixel graphic style games. And it's just really nice build quality. It feels like a quality product. So it is a little bit of a hefty price tag at about $200 to $250, somewhere in that range. But you do get high quality material. You get a very high quality screen, and then you're going to be able to play any Game Boy game that you already own or intend to own, in addition to any ROMs that you add to your console. So for example, I've been playing Pokemon Crystal Legacy and Tetris Rosie Retrospective DX, which are not officially licensed games, but fan modded versions of Nintendo classic games. And it's a ton of fun playing these. I also do have some bootleg copies of physical cartridges for some other ROM hacks like Pokemon Prism. So you can take this, throw that bad boy right into your console and start playing. Now, one thing that I saw in reviews was that, this looks like it's not in there very securely. It is. It really is in there securely. That was one of my biggest concerns, was that it just kind of looked like it was, gonna fall out, but it's locked and tight in there. Here, I'll throw the other cartridge in here so you can see what the Game Boy Advance one looks like as well. If you are going to pick up an Analogue Pocket specifically for kind of boosting up your Game Boy Advance collection of physical games, just be very mindful of what you're purchasing. Before I kind of understood what I was doing, purchased what I thought was a legitimate version of Pokemon Leaf Green. It is definitely not. It is a bootleg. So just keep that in mind. There's going to be a lot of bootleg Game Boy Advance games floating around, especially on eBay. So do a little bit of research. The Analogue Pocket actually does have a function to where you can verify whether a copy is a true Nintendo game or, an officially licensed game. But beautiful console. I really love the screen, really enjoy using this bad boy. And, I definitely feel like I don't regret purchasing this. Let's talk about the Nintendo 3DS. Like I mentioned, I have the new Nintendo 3DS. I got this a while back. I've made a couple videos on this, or at least one video. The 3DS is one of my favorite consoles. I've not been playing this one a ton just because I've been playing Pokemon Crystal on my Analogue Pocket. But the benefit of the 3DS is that you're going to get, the full 3DS library of games. And then of course too, it's official Nintendo hardware. So any Nintendo game, I have Ocarina of Time 3D right now. I've kind of taken a break from playing that, but that's going to pop right in there and work as it should. and then you can also do some junk to get a full digital library. Essentially any 3DS game you would ever have dreamed of playing, you can get right on this bad boy and, just have a big SD card and have an entire 3DS library right here ready to roll. And you can do that with the Analogue Pocket up to Game Boy Advance, but that's where it stops. With the 3DS, you're gonna get all of those same games that you could put on your Analogue Pocket can go on here. But then you also can get DS games and 3DS games. If you already have DS games, you can pop those right on in too. Let me actually make sure that's true. Boom. You can pop your DS game right on in there, get to playing. So you can still have access to your full DS physical library. You can add every digital game you've ever wanted, including Game Boy, Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color, all those. And you have the 3D screen. Now, the price for these is really gonna fluctuate. I got this for around $200, so roughly the same amount that I paid for my Analogue Pocket. But there is some other things you have to be mindful of too, like it has a specific charger. The one that I purchased came with a charger. I could imagine those might be hard to track down or might get a little expensive over time. So, that's kind of the biggest hurdle with the 3DS, is that it is an out of production console. So anything that exists for it, you're going third party, it's going to be eBay. You just want to be really careful with what you're purchasing and doing some research. I had bought a 3DS, and before this one, it was like a limited edition Mario 3DS, and the screen was not working right. So just kind of be very wary of that. I had to return it and then ended up going through a Japanese seller. I would recommend doing that, finding a Japanese seller, because the products are just in really good condition. Like, this is a used 3DS. It looks like brand new. Most of the smudges are just on my screen from touching it with my fingers right now. But the new 3DSs really kind of nailed down the 3D functionality, the build quality, the form factor. If you have big hands, I'd recommend getting the new 3DS XL. I kind of regret not getting that one. I really like the size and the form factor of the smaller version, and have definitely noticed my hands cramp up, if I'm playing for 45 minutes to an hour in kind of in a longer, shorter play sessions. So just kind of keep that in mind. I think that the new XLs are a lot easier to find than kind of this size anyways, so there might be more of those floating around. But decent screens, definitely not as good as the Analogue Pocket's screen, but that's, this is a significantly older console than the Analogue Pocket as far as manufacturing date. So I think when it really comes down to recommending these two, it's really easy for me to recommend the Nintendo 3DS over the Analogue Pocket. That just being because you can play every single Analogue Pocket game on the Nintendo 3DS. The only bummer is that they have to be digital, but I think a lot of people are just kind of in a digital world now anyways. If you really do have an existing collection of Game Boy games, then the Analogue Pocket is going to be the best way to play those. Now, this is a more difficult console to kind of track down than the 3DS in a way, but definitely a high quality product. But if I had to pick one, I would definitely roll with the 3DS. You're going to have, every game you've ever wanted right here in this little guy, even more portable than the Analogue Pocket. And yeah, great quality, ton of fun games. Analogue Pocket still really cool if you do, have physical games. Let it rip, baby. It's a really good console. My recommendation of the 3DS over the Analogue Pocket isn't to put that console down, but more so just to highlight the fact that this can do everything the Analogue Pocket can do and more. Really great console, and I'm going to be trying to beat Ocarina of Time at some point. Pray for me. I'm not really enjoying it. That's my video for the week. Thanks for checking it out. Subscribe if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you like playing video games and watching content based on video games. That's kind of what we do over here. We're trying to hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of the season. We are making good strides. So appreciate you guys checking it out. Cat cameo. Cat cameo. He really Cat cameo. Cat cameo. Peace.